Okay, this is the video to accompany the page 20 notes for chapter 8. So let's go ahead and work through these following questions. All right, so let's see what we got. In 2015, all right, so it looks to me like I have a point here. So in 2015, she started her collection. She had 12. All right, so I am going to identify that as kind of in the beginning. So in the very beginning of her collection. So that point I'm going to identify as in the beginning, she had 12 of them. Okay, so that's going to be the purple that I've highlighted. All right, let's go through. Today she has 2,916. Okay, so to identify today, we need to compare it to 2015. So 2015 to 2020 is 5 years. So it would say 5 years later, she now has a total of 2,916. Okay, so now that I've extracted the points from this, I think I can go ahead and write the equations. So let's go ahead and write these guys. So for my purple equation, it does say that I'm going to do an exponential equation. All right, so we know the form of the exponential equation is going to be y equals ab to the x, or it could be n and t of n. I like using the x and the y equation originally and then maybe changing it to n and t of n at the end depending on what's necessary. So does xy make sense in this situation, or does nt of n make sense in this situation? Either way, it doesn't really matter. So you could go through while you're manipulating the equation. You could use either of those guys. So I know that my y or t of n, so we'll clear it up at the end. And then my a, oh, I don't even think I need to do all this. I know right now, because this is 0, comma, that is a. So I know a is equal to 12. So I don't have to go through the portion of rewriting two different equations for this. I can kind of just write one. All right, so using the form of the equation, so there is my y or t of n value. My a is 12. I don't know what b is, so I'm going to leave it there, and then I've got my exponent of 5. Okay, so let's go ahead and divide by 12. So these guys are going to cancel, so now I do my 2,916 divided by 12. That gives me 243, b to the 5th. So now remember, we want, I'll leave a little bit of space here. I need to get rid of that 5 exponent, so I'm going to do a little 5 root. And that's going to cancel. And then I type this in my calculator, and I'm going to get b is equal to 3. Okay, so I've got my a and my b that need to be plugged into the equation. All right, now I need to figure out if this is t of n and n or x and y. So if you take a look back at the context, these are cute little characters. So I guess I need to ask myself is, can she have a fraction of a character? I don't think that's possible. She either has one or she doesn't. So I'm not going to use x and y in this case because I don't want it to be a continuous graph. I wouldn't connect the dots on this because fractions, decimals, and negatives don't really make any sense here. So I am going to use the n and t of n form of the equation. So do t of n is equal to ab to the n. Okay, so t of n is equal to, okay, a was actually given to us, so that's 12. The b we found, which was 3, and then to the n power. Keep in mind you can write this as 12 and then use the dot for multiplication if you would like. Either's fine. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Elmer loves rabbits. Okay, he started with 24 rabbits. Okay, that sounds to me like in the beginning. So in the beginning, he had 24 rabbits. Now, before I even look at the rest of this, I want to go ahead and recognize that this is A. And I know this because it's 0, comma. Okay, let's take a look at the rest of this. After 6 years, 1536 of the furry little animals. Okay, so now I have an equation for, or a point for this. So 6 years later, so 6 years, he had 1536. All right, so again, using the form of the equation. Now, I already have an idea of whether this is going to be x, y, or n t of n. And we don't want fractions of rabbits, so we definitely don't want x and y here. So I know the general form of this equation is going to be t of n and n. All right, so let's plug some stuff in. So this is my t of n, 1536. My a, I already know, is 24. It was given to me in the other point. And then my b, and then my 6 here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and divide by 24. Those are going to cancel. And if I do 1536 divided by 24, that's going to give me 64 equals b to the 6th. Okay, get rid of the 6th power, do the little 6 root. Those guys cancel. And if I type that into my calculator, I'm going to get b is equal to 2. All right, so I've got a and b. Now I can go ahead and write the actual equation for this thing. So it's going to be t of n is equal to how many he started with in the first place, which was 24. And then the multiplier itself, so my b, which is 2 to the n power. Now remember, you could also write this with the multiplication dot if you would like. So it's 24 times 2 to the n power. And I think that finishes our notes for this page.